folks. Hi. Has your mood changed since the last time we've asked you? No? Okay. Hi, okay, so my presentation is going to be over the comparison between commercial and non-for-profit theater. We've seen it a couple times, but I figured, it's fine. Okay, so I want to start off with a little bit of inspirational quotes right now, because I feel like that's what theater is. It's very inspiring. So here's the entire lyrics of When You Wish Upon a Star, and the entire lyrics of A Dream Is a Wish Your Heart Makes. So take that in. Alright, now that we're all inspired, we can move on. I'm going to be highlighting a few definitions that maybe could be interpreted differently. I'm going to be comparing and contrasting commercial versus nonprofit. Okay, so first let's start with what is theater, because in my head, a very abstract thinker, there's either theater as a solid building or theater as a being. So I went on to Google definitions, and the second one is find what I was trying to explain. The activity or profession of acting in producing, directing, or writing a play. So it's pretty much the floating being that is inside of the building of theater. It isn't necessarily the building itself. Okay. So when I compared the first thing I thought at the top of my head was that commercial theaters are sellouts, and that nonprofit theater was just poor. And going into the research, it's not that. I figured this out. So commercial theater, it doesn't go off of a certain season. So all of the shows that run in commercial theater run as long as profit, as long as ticket sales can hold it. All of the sales are taxable because all of the money that is coming in from the ticket sales is used to support the facilities that they use, and it's also used to pay the rest of the people involved, the actors, the technicians, directors, all of that, because it's more of a business view of theater. Usually this floating entity of theater, as we said earlier, does not have their own venue. So a commercial theater can travel. So all of the income that they're looking to receive can be done in different locations, and so they can take their show on the road. Because the goal of the commercial theater is to create that profit so they're able to continue being. Okay. So not-for-profit theater is a little bit different of a view. The show season is determined at the beginning of the season. So they determine how long each show runs and how much of their budget they're willing to put into each show. So there's only a limited amount of time that an audience can go see it. They do usually have their own space that they rent out, or they have that makes it predictable for the rest of the season. So they're able to determine their season, they're able to determine their shows based upon the spaces that they have. They do take donations. As we know, all theaters take donations, but not-for-profit theater relies heavier on those donations because all of the money that comes in doesn't go to pay the actors or some of the technicians. Of course, sometimes directors and technicians are paid, but usually for not-for-profit theater, all of the income, all of the money goes back to the facility itself and supporting next season or the next show. Okay, so now we're going to highlight what is innovation. So I went to Google again, and Google helped me. Innovation is a new method, idea, product, etc. So it's a new way of thinking of things. We know this. Okay, so here are a few examples that I found that in which theater is being innovated in theater itself. So I know that we were highlighting a lot in the other presentations about how theater is innovated towards the community and all that, and it's very interesting, but I wanted to focus on how theater itself is being innovated. And so the first example that I find is sign language in theater. So we saw at the Tonys when Spring Awakening did all the freaking sign language and all that. I looked back to see when was like the first time that theater involved sign language, and it was actually a while ago in 1951. And so this is developed into a way of sharing the art with people who would otherwise not have the same experience. And so out of this idea, people have developed it, changed it, and now we can have two actors playing one character, one being the voice and one being the expressions and the signs for people who otherwise would not have been able to enjoy that. Another example of innovation in theater is New Age Romeo and Juliet. I looked it up, and there's this director in Germany, this man, and he took Romeo and Juliet and pretty much made it into a tech age, generational kind of production where Romeo and Juliet, the battles between the Capulets and the Montagues is very tech. It's not combat, it's very tech. And we've seen this various times where Shakespeare is being turned into a modern day or being taken a different direction. And it's something that is innovative because it brings in the next generation into Shakespeare or into the classics. Another interesting innovation that I found was The Curious Incident of Dog in Nighttime, played by this man, Mickey Rowe. He is an autistic actor, and he was able to get involved in theater and be able to portray the character with this insight of his own disability. And so, with this production that they did with him specifically, they worked a ton with him, he was able to do it, but then they also created another performance that was suitable for people with autism. So they always kept the lights a little higher so it wasn't completely dark, there was less sounds that would burst and like trigger anything so that they would be able to enjoy the show in a comfortable area. So that was innovative in that. And then there's this little show called You Are Nowhere, and it's one word, and that is the photo that is pictured right there. This is innovative in tech-wise because they use all projections. There is no set. It's completely white except for this one square right here, which is a square that's like the selfie. You know how the light comes towards you? The square, and so when you put this face through it, you can't see the face because all the light is on the other side, so they use that. And they use projections throughout the entirety of the show, and that's become like a motif in modern theater too. And so I'll finish off with this quote: "All our dreams come true if we have the courage to pursue them," by Walt Disney himself. And this is, I picked this quote because theater is ever changing, and there are so many possibilities for all of us to look into, and commercial theater and both non-for-profit theater are taking different routes and different methods of doing this with the resources that they have. And so there are my citations.